Hello, everyone, and welcome today to Yin Yoga. I hope you've been having a great day. I'm Debbie Nolan with Henrico Recreation and Parks, and I'm here with you today to share this wonderful form of yoga. So first thing before we start, you need to get your environment conducive for your practice. So find a quiet area, perhaps one with a door, and then gather the tools you need. A yoga mat, if you have one. If not, a really nice towel. I prefer tie-dye myself. Find something decorative that makes you feel good. You can also use that towel if you don't need it and you have a mat. You can use it for support in other parts of the practice as well. So either way, a towel is good. You can also put it under your face if you have carpet to keep your face from getting irritated. So good thing to have around. You might want yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, a cushion from your couch. The bed pillows are usually too soft, but if you have a really firm bed pillow, you could use that, maybe fold it in half. You can also use a book that might be at least 2 inches thick, or have several hardback books to work with. So have those things on hand. And a lot of the poses, because of this environment that we've been living in, we have not been using props in different activities and classes. So because you're home, you have these things perhaps available to you. But if you don't, no worries, no props are needed. Same benefit to the pose. So as we get ready to start, today we're going to start from a face down position. So I'm going to turn sideways for that particular beginning. But what you'll want to do is go ahead and stretch out face down on your mat. And as you do that, you're going to want to stack your arms one right above the other, not hand to hand, but one above the other. So make sure that your fingers can feel just above your elbow with the top hand, and you'll put your forehead right on top. So go ahead and find that position for you, and I will join you. Good. So remember, in Yin, we hold the positions a little bit longer. Good, and that's so that the body has a chance to start to relax and release. We start today's practice with the forehead on the forearms, resting on top. In yoga tradition, the sixth chakra is located here. Sometimes we call that our third eye. It's that chakra of inner intuition. So here, we're working to develop our intuitive abilities, especially with how we feel within our body. So as you start to explore your breath, just let the legs extend out from your body, from your torso, and relax. Good, and just have the forehead touching your arms. As you breathe in and out, just start to notice the subtleties of your breath. So give yourself permission today to just be in the moment. No judgment, no expectations, other than to be in this moment, to breathe and feel. As we feel sensation, we create opportunities for growth within our body, growth within our understanding of knowing more about ourselves, and it helps us be more flexible as we move off the mat, because when we know ourselves, then we can move out into the world more confidently and more aware of our surroundings and other people. So as you breathe in and out, just allow yourself to start to open that third eye up. Inhaling and exhaling. Notice where you feel twinges in the hinges or areas that may need certain nurturing today. In yoga tradition, the right side of your body is the dominant side. It has masculine tendencies governed by the sun and warmth and heat. But finding the balance to that, the left side of the body is governed by the moon, coolness, flexibility. And that has to do with the two different natures of our bodies. So as we move through our practice today, knowing that Yin is a combination or has influences from both Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, We know that we have different elements in our bodies that respond to what the mind thinks. But here we allow the body to take the lead from the breath, and the mind follows. So here is an opportunity to find almost a meditative place to be today. Good. So as we here begin our practice, the first thing that we're going to do is extend out our left arm in front of our body. Then we're going to bring our right hand directly bent elbow under the bent elbow. So what we're going to do is roll onto that left side. And as you do that, you're going to take your top leg. Good. That top leg is your right leg. Move it back. Back, back, back. Good. So once you do that, slide your bottom leg forward. So it's almost like you're taking a really big leap. And the arm in the air reaches up and turns towards the rear of the room, goes behind our back. Good. So we start here. Good. And just have a sensation of what you're feeling in this area. Good. And we're going to change it slightly. So let's bring the hand back in front. Now that you have this feel, now know this is a variation that you can use. And this pose is called open wing. So where's the wing? This is your wing. So we lean forward just a bit, slide the top leg forward, push down with your right hand, and slide the left hand out from the shoulder towards the wall behind you. Good. Now the hand comes here again. Good. And then stack your hips. Arm comes back up again. And let the arm waterfall down your back. Now in this pose, the sensation that you're going to feel, and you can put your head on a block, or you can allow your head to relax down. Good. Either one is good. Now the sensation that you're going to feel in this pose runs diagonally from the bottom shoulder, in this case your left shoulder, up to your right hip. You'll feel a lot of hip flexor sensation here. You'll feel more the further back you extend that leg. Good. The arm reaching behind. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Now in this pose, you want to make sure that the fingers of the left hand don't go to sleep. If they do, reposition your arm. As you're in broken wing, just notice where you feel the most sensation. Gather in that sensation with an inhale, and then exhale, allow it to float away. You can also just bring your hand to your hip. Good, but you think about pointing your elbow towards the rear of the room. So any of those are good movements. So just find the one that works for you. Both shoulders are open here, but the bottom shoulder, your right arm, is more open in the shoulder. So once again, explore the sensation, ride that wave, but not into pain, into discovery. And as you breathe in and out, just notice when the body starts to relax and release. It's always good in yin and in any form of yoga when you can take the opportunity to shut your eyes and cut off visual distractions. We have so many distractions in our life visually. I never caution to turn off your cell phone, but always do that because, you can live without that for a few moments, especially when you're investing time in yourself. Here you're just using steady breath. And if you want more sensation in the pose, you can always separate your legs just a little bit more. Good, and as your breath is steady, inhaling and exhaling. Very nice. Good, so let us float the top arm up, that's your right one. Bring it back down to the mat. Good, slide your legs together again. Good, and float back to face down. Good, but we're only going to transition here for a moment. But first, take the leg that was back, and that's your right leg. Cross it at the ankle. Good. Rest your forehead on your right arm. Good, and then take the left arm and let's just let it relax back. Here we're just transitioning from one side to the other. It allows a little bit of the stronger sensations to start to dissipate as we get ready to move to the opposite side. So after one more breath, we just lift our head up. Good, and then bring your left arm out, placing the hand underneath the elbow. Slide the right arm out. And remember, you're going to slide your body or rotate so that you're stacking your shoulders and your hips on the right side. So you push with that left hand to get you there. Good. Now remember, your arm might be straight out from the shoulder. Could be here. Could even be back here. Listen to your body. Now back here is less sensation. Up here is the most sensation. So find a spot in the middle perhaps. Now the top leg goes back, bottom leg goes forward. And the focus is shoulders stacked, hips stacked. Good. Perhaps your head relaxes down. Perhaps you put your head on a block. Good. Hand can be on your hip, and that is your left hand. Good. Or it can be up, and then waterfall down your back, as if you're putting your fingers in your jeans pocket on the right side. Good. So as you start to release in the pose, you may find you can extend that top leg back further, have more sensation right here in the hip flexor, in the front of the thigh where the torso and the thigh join together. We use that muscle all day long, and it's very hard to adequately elongate it. And in Yin, we're working deeper in the body to release these structures that hold together bone to bone and muscle to bone. So here you're not actually trying to stretch ligaments or tendons, you're just trying to create more flexibility within them so that they don't react to unusual movements by tearing. You're creating better flow of blood into those areas. And strength around each joint by creating balance. Now you may find after a few minutes that you can slide that leg a little further back or move the arm up a little further if you care for a little more sensation, or if that's just where your lead takes you today from your body. Remember, your hand can be right here, and that's your left hand. It can be down your back. Either one is great. Now, even though this pose is challenging, it gives you the opportunity to really feel diagonal lines in your body from the left hip flexor towards the right shoulder. You can feel that diagonal line through the middle of your body through this elongation twist. Good. Oftentimes we roll in the opposite direction for a rotation. Here you're really working with a totally different rotation in the body, which opens it up. And of course, always play your edges. That's what the sensation comes from, growth comes from, empowerment comes from that as well, because you start to be very aware of where you need to work to be able to grow from that area. Good. So after another breath, just float the top arm up. Bring it back down in front of your body, elbow bent, and then slide your legs together. pause right there for a moment. Good, and then come back to the mat. Slide your left hand under your forehead. Good, take that left foot and cross it on top. Good, take the right arm and just allow it to relax back. Good, and these are just transition poses that gives the body an opportunity to go, oh yeah, this is where I usually reside, but I feel different now. Now as we're here, do you feel the balance in the shoulders? Very, very, very nice. So we start to lift our head and then bring the right arm around. Now we're still going to be in this position for a few moments, but I'm going to turn towards the camera and I'm going to slide my knees back so that you can see what my front of my body is doing. Now, first thing, bend your knees. Ah, see my feet? Good. My feet are over my knees. Oh my goodness. Right here, my elbows are under my shoulders. Good, so palms are straight out, feet are bent, about hip distance apart. Good. Now find the mobility in your shoulders. So find the movement range that you have there. Good. Now pause and just let your head and neck and spine kind of drop down in between. Now if you notice that you feel lifted in your pelvis, bring your head back up. Shift and lift a knee and slide it back. Shift and lift the other knee and slide it back. So you feel anchored from your knee to your pelvis all the way in one straight line. You can feel hip flexors there. So they should feel like they elongated when you did that. You see when I shifted mine, you can see my feet now. Good. So settle into the mat. Drop your tailbone down towards the mat. When you do that, you start to elongate through the front of your body. So in Yin, there's only one pose, maybe two. They keep the same name, and this is Sphinx, just like at the base of the pyramid. Now, you don't want to have a sensation of where you feel rounded inward with your shoulders. You want to feel like you're opening outward. Good. So, hands extended. Pull the tailbone down. Very important. Draw your abdominals up into your spine. Have a sensation of your feet being closer to your seat than to the floor beyond. So not out, but close. Good. So as we start right here, good, we can exhale down. Good, and just allow yourself to be there for a moment. Good. Now without squeezing your seat muscles, draw your pelvis into the mat from the front of the pelvis. And then lift your upper body. Good, and just look forward, just like shutting your eyes. You see the Sphinx in your memory. Good, visualize him. Good, and so that here's another one of those active movements even within Yin. We're breathing in, breathing out. You'll notice your knees may slide away a little bit more. That's normal. Now you may be crossing your ankles. And here we like to keep the feet apart. It's okay. But if you need to cross your ankles to keep your feet upright, do so. Good. Now you may find that you want to lift your elbows off the floor and move from Sphinx into Swan. So if so, open your hands a little wider, float your shoulders back and down, and lift your upper body. Now my feet are still up here. However, you may find that you want to flatten your feet out behind. No worries. Good. So we lift upright. Elbows can be soft. Good. And they can come further apart. Good. As we breathe in and out, what you want to think about here is relax all the muscles in your seat. Let your hips lower down. Pull your tailbone down towards the mat. And now allow your legs to come down. Good. Lift up through the body and think Swan. Perhaps you turn your head to the right, look over your shoulder. Swans have nice long necks. They can easily do that. Good, and the head comes back to the center. And then look to the opposite side. And we come back to the center. Good, so take care that you don't slump down in between your shoulders, but you're lifted upright. Good, and of course your elbows can be bent. You can even be on your elbows. So pick that place for you to be. Good. Now start to soften your elbows and float down towards the mat. Bring them in, back into Sphinx again. Good. Now, as we're here, just breathe in and out, still elevated, just like the Sphinx looking out over the sands of Egypt. Good, and then let's slide our hands back to just under our shoulders. Good. Come to hands and knees. Now, if you have tender knees, you can always fold back a piece of your mat. Open your knees wider. Good. First, walk your hands forward and let your elbows relax down. Let your head be between your arms. Push back through the elbows so your tailbone comes closer to your heels. Now, do you need to sit on your heels? No. If that doesn't speak to you, if your body doesn't allow you to do that, no worries. This is just a variation of a resting pose. Be sure you drop your tailbone down. Good, so now let your knees, your hips come right above your knees. Walk your hands forward, straight arms, and then just allow your heart to drop down towards the mat. This is called melting heart. Melting heart. Good, drop your tailbone down, pull forward, push forward into your hands. Good, and just feel the length of the movement here. Good. You should feel a lot of opening down the sides of your body. Good. And if your knees are still apart, be sure and bring them back together underneath your hips. Good. Let's walk our hands back. Good. And as we come upright, let's go ahead and have a seat. Good. And as we have a seat, bring the feet forward. Good. And as the feet come forward, let's just allow ourselves first to be in this particular pose. Good, but we're not going to be here long. Caterpillar. So shift a little bit side to side. Good, and readjust any of your clothes that may have gone all sorts of interesting places. Good, and first just lift up really tall, and then flow forward, chin towards your chest. Now let your arms come back behind your body. Good, open the shoulders, and then just allow yourself to elongate forward rather than round. Good, now float your hands forward, palms up, and allow yourself to round down. Really imagine your back making the letter C, like a letter C. Very, very, very nice. Now let us flow back upright. Good. Now this next pose is called saddle. Saddle like a horse's saddle pose. But we're going to do half saddle today. Now there are variations for this pose if you find your knees do not like it. So you might want to have on hand that extra blanket or those blocks. Good, and so you can bring them behind you. Now some folks find these poses very accessible, other people don't. Now I'm in the middle. So what we want to think about is, first thing, your left leg is going to extend out. Excuse me, your right leg will. Good, and we're going to take the other leg, shift to the side, and bend it back. All right, so that leg is bended back. Now, here's what you want to think about. In a traditional variation of this pose, your knees might be close together. Here, let your knee be back. You might want the cushioning under your knee. No worries. Pick what works for you. We're going to be leaning back, so listen to your knee. So we press back. You may very well be right here. Now, if you have the flexibility in your knee to put the top of your foot down next to your bottom, go for it. Good. Here, just lift up. Good. And you have to listen to your knees in this pose. Now, in this pose, what my arms are doing, just so you have a good idea, is my knees are pretty inflexible, so therefore, my hands are back here. Now, you may find that you flow down to your elbows. Good, that's great. Good, you might need a block, you might not. Good, so just listen to your body. Lift through your torso and pause right here. Now, you may find that the bent knee needs support under it. Good, you can relax your head down if you like. Breathing in, breathing out. I like they call it saddle, but since we're only doing half of it, we're going to call it side saddle today. Now, if you move into the pose and you just find this is not working for you, you can shift to the side, take the bent knee, cross it on top, and come back into the same elbow position. Just keep your heart lifted. And that just means lift your chest, lift your sternum. Similar position, but without the knee action that may be painful. Good, so find the one that works for you. Good, and as you get ready to now move it out of it, good. Lift your head back up, float your knee up, slide the leg down, and then work your way back upright. So then we move into the saddle from the opposite side of the horse. So you may find one side of your body is far more accessible than the other, and that's typical. Good, so find that place for you. Now in behind your body, you can also lean back and put your elbows on these blocks behind you. Good, so start tall, palms back, other leg comes in. Good, bend the knee. Good, remember, we're not working towards bringing the legs side by side like you would in hero's pose, but in saddle, we're thinking about being tall, lift up, start with the elbows straight. Listen to your body. It's a pretty fierce rotation, inward rotation, internal. Good, you may find the elbows can come down. Good. Each person is different, so listen to your body. Lift your chest. Be strong. You may find that you can hold that foot. Maybe, maybe not. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Remember, you can put a block under the bent knee or a towel. Relax the head back. Try not to clench the muscles in your face. Allow your face to be soft as well. Good, so always remembering that you can hold the pose longer by just hitting pause. Good. Let's go ahead and start moving out of this. We shift to the side. Good, lift the bent knee up. Slide the foot forward and come back upright. So from side saddle, good again, we come into caterpillar. But instead of just caterpillar, let's open the legs wider into legs wide pose. Good, or dragonfly. Good, hands in front. Shift a little bit so you feel connected. Good, and then here, just let your forearms touch your inner thighs. Good, and start to soften downward. Now start long, straight spine. Pause here. Now drop your tailbone down. Good, if your knees are off the floor, and I didn't say this earlier, put blocks under them, put towels under them. It's all good. Good, the main thing here is not to push into the mat, but just allow your legs to be where they are. They'll relax into the pose. In traditional yoga, we'd be working for pushing the legs down. Here, you're just relaxing them. Wherever they are is where they are. Good, open your hands wider. Place your hands on your ankles. Good, join the wings of the butterfly, the wings of the dragonfly together. Good, bring your chin to your chest. Drop your tailbone down. Good. Now start to allow your spine to round a bit. So look at the mat just under your nose. Remember that it's not a goal to hold your feet here. Just place your hands in where they are. And in fact, now let's take our hands and reach them behind us. Put the back of your hand on the mat. Float your shoulders downward and allow the space in between the shoulder blades to open. Good, the body will start relaxing. You'll probably move a little closer to the mat. You might need to reposition. Good, pause. Once you find that spot, be there. Own it, feel it. Wonderful. Some of these poses, when you get into them, you could almost take a nap in them. But we don't want to do that today. Good, and then flow back upright. Very nice. And as we do that, go ahead and bring the hands back to the front. Good, now we're going to flow to our back. Now once again, I'm going to turn sideways. But as we get ready to move into the pose, here just move your stuff away, out of your way, and flow to your back. So as you flow to your back, move to the middle of your mat, or just allow yourself to come down to the mat. Bend your knees. Good. And just shift your knees a little bit side to side to release any of the tension you may feel in the middle of your spine, just above your pelvis. Good. Perhaps we bring our knees in and just a little hug for a moment. Good. And feet come down. Very nice. So in this next movement, next series of poses, let's bring your foot up and cross on top. And let's make it the right foot crossing on the left ankle with the left knee with the ankle. Good. So right foot, left knee, cross the ankle. Good. Float your arms out a little bit further from the shoulders. And then just shift a little bit so that you can find your shoulder blades. And then just allow them to relax into the mat. Good. So as we start right here, this particular pose, twisted knot, you can also give yourself a little extra sensation just by the weight of your hand there. But what I'd like for you to think about is, even though your leg is crossed, Let everywhere your body is touching the mat, your foot, your pelvis, your lower back, your shoulder blades, the backs of your arms, the back of your head. And as you inhale in, just allow yourself to soften into the mat. Now your body might resist that. You might feel some little jumps, little tingles, and that's normal. Take care your chin is not the highest point on your face, but your nose. So you might need to just slide the back of your skull away. Good, and as you do that, good, again, we start here in the beginning of twisted root. Good. Now use your supporting foot, your left foot, to just lift your hips a little bit to the left. So slide them a bit to the left. Stay super glued at the crossed ankle, and then allow your knees to go to the right. Good, now we pause right there. Good, now if your knees don't go all the way down to the mat, put a block, put your towel beneath, any of those are good. If you find that your left shoulder blade's off the mat, shift your knees up towards your right hand, and generally that'll allow you to have your shoulder blades in contact with the mat. Good, so here we are. We start in the first element of twisted root. Don't let your left leg get so far away that your right foot just pops off your knee. Go ahead and bring the foot inward and upward so that the knee balances out the hold on the ankle. Good, and you can look in the opposite direction if you like. Pausing here. Just notice the play of the breath through your ribs on the left side. Very nice. Now once you're in the position, if you ever want to pause the play, do so and enjoy the play a little bit longer. What you feel within your body in the pose before you move forward. Now this particular series has a right side and a left side. So we're going to float our knees back up and float the pelvis back to the mat. Good, now shoulder blades reattach. We shift our hips a little bit to the right. Good, and then allow the knees to go to the left side. Good, and if the foot's not on the floor, good, and that would be your right foot, you can put a block beneath it. Now that left foot comes up closer to your bottom. Same thing, right foot. Now you may find that you can reach down and hold on to that foot. You might have to bring the foot up and then hold it, or you might just have the foot right there. So it just depends on the person. I brought mine up today for there. Good. Now pause right here. Now this time just let your torso, your focus, nose towards the sky. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Slide your left arm. Keep that left hand holding the ankle. Slide your right arm up towards the wall behind you. If you have anything in the way, just move it. You'll feel a lot of sensation in this pose right here in the hip. Very nice. Good, and as you relax into the pose, be sure and relax the muscles in your seat. Relax in your hips. Breathing in, soften, release. Very nice. And then we just pause. Let the legs come together. Good, and just pause for a moment and turn your torso to the side. And I'm going to be facing away, but just roll to that side, which in this case is your left side. Put your head on an extended arm just like you're in your bed at home. And bring Right arm across to the front, and just pause right there. Now send yourself a positive thought. Give yourself a moment to really think about it. Perhaps it's taking a moment to recognize something that you're grateful for. Your life just wouldn't be the same without this present. Very nice. And then when you finish that thought, let's go ahead and float back to our back. Bend your knees. Good, and come back and center out a bit in your mat. So first thing again is just allow yourself to shift a little bit. Find that contact on the mat, and then cross with the left leg on top. Good, and your arms are out a little bit from your torso. Palms up. Good. You can even put the hand here for a little extra, just the weight of your hand sensation. Good. Now feel like you're in contact with the mat here, and super glue that left ankle to the right knee. Good. Notice where you're holding. Are you holding in your lower back? Good. Just be aware now of the differences from this side of the body from the first side. So as you're breathing in and out, perhaps you shift your body now a little bit to the right side. Good. And then on the exhale, allow your knees to go to the left. Good. Now, first thing you notice, if your right shoulder blade comes up off the mat, draw your knees up. Stay in contact, stay crossed. Good, and then shift a little bit, and usually your shoulder blades will connect. You can look in the opposite direction if you like. Good, so again, the twisted root series, and that's R-O-O-T, not Groot, but root. Good, so after a few more moments in the pose, then we transition to the opposite side on an inhale. Good, the hip comes back down to the mat. So we re-super glue that ankle to the knee, and we allow our knees now to go towards the right side. Now your bottom leg, in this case the right leg, is actually laying flat. The sole of the foot comes up off the mat. It's just relaxed there to the side. Good, your left foot in front. It might work its way up to where it's accessible to your hand. Good. And then move the left arm up towards the sky. If you want, you can put the hand behind your head. If your elbow's up in the air, put a block behind it. Good. The big thing is to be able to just change the angle a bit of your shoulder. Good. As you're in this pose, you'll notice after a few moments that you're able to bring the foot up a little closer to your hip flexor and groin area. Good, just look straight up, shutting your eyes or closing them halfway so that you can really discern where you're feeling the sensation from specifically. Good, and after a few moments, again, staying in the pose as long as you'd like. Good, releasing the foot and just allowing Left leg to come on top of the right, and then coming to the side and curling up just like you were in your bed at home. Just pausing there. Taking a moment, giving yourself that time to really just be in that space, just like in the morning before the alarm goes off. That if you've woken up a little bit early, but you really just don't want to open your eyes yet, just in that space where time doesn't matter, and you're just floating in that feeling. Now take the opportunity to send a positive thought out. Maybe it's a note of thanksgiving or appreciation to somebody who's the first person that popped into your mind. Sending them that positive energy that you appreciate them and you're thankful for them during this time and all times. Good, and we slide the arm in front of us. Good, and just help ourselves up to a seated position. Good, and just gradually reposition everything that got out of kilter. Good, flow back. Good, and let's come into half fire log pose today. So you might very well want your block or your towel. Good, here you want to think about, and we had this as an alternative for another pose earlier. So bring the leg up. Good, and the block can be underneath. Good, so think of half fire log. Good, think really tall, bring the hands behind. Good, and just flow forward. Good, as you breathe in and breathe out. Think lifting through the body, but coming forward at the same time. So as you're breathing, you'll find you're able to slide your hands a little further forward and come further forward in the pose as you're breathing. Good. By now, the body should start reacting to the poses, releasing quickly or more quickly. Good, and then we flow back, because this is just a small transition. Cross on top, same thing. Maybe you use the block, maybe not. Good, hands. Good, and we lift up again. Good. The act of hinging forward just creates that movement naturally through the hips. Your body weight creates the opening in the hip. Very, very nice. Now, just shift back and go ahead and bring your feet into butterfly. We're going to end today's yin practice in a seated position. Good. We're going to come into butterfly. You may very well find that you want to put the blocks under your knees. Good. It looks something like so. Just so that you can release into that area. And just have the arms either inside or place one hand inside of the other one. Good. Or you can hold onto your ankles if that makes you feel more grounded. So all of those are good. Just pick what works for you. Good, and as we sit up nice and tall here, breathe. Drop your tailbone down. Inhaling and exhaling. Very nice. Now slowly open your eyes. Now cross your legs into whatever seated position is comfortable. You can be kneeling in this. This is lion breath. So we're going to use lion's breath just to open up the sinuses a bit. We've had really strange weather, as everybody is aware of. So here, what we're doing is making the fiercest face we possibly can make. And so we'll open our eyes, we'll take a big inhale in and open our eyes and our mouth as wide as we can, stick our tongue out and roar because it's lion pose. Now, don't worry about looking silly because you're focused on that roar, you know, queen of the jungle, king of the jungle, whatever. But you'll lift up really tall and then hinge forward to do the roar. So roar to the extent of loudness that you can even feel it reverberate in your face, in your sinus cavities, etc. We'll do that 3 times. Good. So big inhale in, fiercest face you can make. Ah! Good. Inhale in. And again. Ah! And again. Ah! And then pause, rub your faces, hands together, create some energy, let your face relax. Good, slowly open the hands apart and feel the tingle of the energy. And then again, rub the hands together. And then bring your hands to both sides of your nose. And use that warmth and that energy to help the lion's breath balance out tension you may feel in your face. Instead of feeling silly, just think of them as being fun. And they do have purpose grounded in the history of yoga. Good, and as we let our hands come down to our chest, good, or on our knees, let's just take one moment to remember the resources that you have out there for you. If you enjoy these yoga practices, if you enjoy floating the river, or creating glowing hands, or any other type of really cool activities, visiting our history sites, any of those areas that you may never have been before, or maybe you didn't even know existed in Henrico County. Come to our YouTube channel, Henrico Recreation Parks, subscribe, and see the opportunities out there for you and your family and friends to explore. Check out the webpage, check out Instagram as well, and our Facebook page. So we're out there. Connect with us. And we bring our practice to close today, inhaling in and exhaling out. The light that shines from within each of you present and participating here today, we join together that energy and magnify it in our practice of yoga. Thank you for letting me lead your practice today. Namaste.